Hello students, this is Suman Sharma from SVM Sinidih and this is the another video for class 9. Here we will start the new chapter, that is force and laws of motion. So firstly we will understand that what is force. As you know that a push or pull on a body is called force, and there are so many activities which is done in our day-to-day life, that pushing something, pulling the things, lifting the boxes, stretching the object, twisting and pressing. All these terms are related to the force. As you can see in the image that kicking a football, it means a force is used when we kick a football, or we can say that a force is used when we push the football. Similarly, pulling a drawer means we apply a force when we pull the drawer. Now, in the next slide, here stretching a rubber band. In this, a force is used when we stretch the rubber band from both the ends. Now next, twisting the weight cloth. In this, we apply a force, or a force is used when we twist the weight cloth so that the water is squeezed out. And here, press the brake of the car so that the car comes to stop. When we apply the brakes of the car, that means we apply a force. These are the examples of the force. Now, in the next slide, here, one of the important term is that the direction. The direction in which a body is pushed or pulled is called the direction of force. As you can see that when we push the object in this direction, it means we apply a force on the object in a direction away from us, like this. And when we pull the object, it means we apply a force on the object in a direction towards us. So, the direction in which we are pushing or pulling the object is called the direction of force. Now, in the next slide, here, the effects of forces. So, the force can be judged, or the force can be understood by the effects of the forces, and this effect of the forces can be seen by the 5 terms. First, a force can move the stationary body. As you can see in the image that the football is at rest here, and when we kick the football, then when we apply a force and the stationary football comes in motion. This is the first. Second, a force can stop a moving body. As you can see in the image that a ball is rolling, and after covering some distance, the ball comes to stop because this ball experiences the force of friction, and due to this force of friction, the ball comes to rest, and we say that a force can stop a moving body. Now, the third effect is that a force can change the speed of the moving body. As you can see in the image that a force can change the speed of the moving body. Means if we apply the force, then we can increase the speed of the bicycle, and if we apply the brakes, then we can decrease the speed of the bicycle, so that after applying the force, the speed of the moving object can be changed. Now, one of the important points is that if the force is applied in the direction of motion of the body, then in that case the speed is increases. And if the force is applied in the direction opposite to the direction of motion, so its speed decreases. So these are the two important terms, you have to keep it in your mind. Now the fourth term is that a force can change the direction of the moving body. Here you can see that the ball comes in this direction, and when the bat hits the ball, then after applying the force, the ball changes its direction. So we can say that a force can change the direction of moving body. And the last term is that a force can change the shape and size of the body. Here, this is the original length of the spring, and when we put some weight here, then there is force of gravity, and after experiencing the force of gravity, the length of the spring changes. This. So we can say that a force can change the shape and size of the body. These are the 5 effects of the forces which can be understood as. Now, in the next slide, here the balanced force and unbalanced force. So, first is the balanced force, and if the resultant of all the forces acting on the body is 0, then the forces are called balanced force. And under the action of balanced force, the object does not change its position of rest, or it does not change its uniform motion. As you can see in the image that when the object does not change its position of rest, it means it is a stationary object, so there is no acceleration. Or if the object does not change its uniform motion, again there is no acceleration, so it is the term related to balanced force. Now, here we will understand it more clearly as, suppose that a box is placed on the table like this, and there are 4 forces act on the box. Suppose that we are pushing the box in this direction. So this is the force of our push, which is written here F1, and second is the force of friction, and this force of friction opposes the push, and this force of friction does not allow the box to move. Here the third is that force of gravity, which pulls the box in the downward direction, and this force of gravity is balanced by the another force, that is force of reaction, and this force of reaction is exerted by the table on the box. So the force of reaction balanced the force of gravity, and this force of friction balanced the force of our push, so that the box doesn't move. And if it doesn't move, or if it doesn't change its position of rest or of uniform motion, then we say that a balanced force acts on the object. So we can simply say that if a number of balanced forces acting on a body in uniform motion, the body continues to be in the state of uniform motion, or if a number of balanced forces acting on a body which is a stationary body, then the body continues to remain in the stationary position or the state of rest. Here, the important term is that the balanced force cannot produce motion in a stationary body, but it can change the shape of the body. So, to understand this, for example, when a balloon is pressed between the hands, then equal and the opposite forces acting on the balloon, and due to these forces, the balloon change the shape, but it does not change its state of rest. So, the one of the important points in balanced force is that the balanced force cannot change the state of rest or of uniform motion, but it can change the shape of the body. So all these terms are related to balanced force. Now, in the next slide, here, the topic is unbalanced force. Here, if the resultant of all the forces acting on the body is not zero, then the forces are called unbalanced force. As you can see in the image that if there were no unbalanced force of friction or air resistance, then the moving bicycle would go on moving forever. So, we can say that if an unbalanced force acting on the body, then it can change the speed or the direction of motion of the object. Or we can also say that if the speed or the direction of motion of the body changes, then it means that some unbalanced force is acting on it. Now, as you can see in the image that there is a riding of a bicycle, and when we stop paddling the moving bicycle, then it simply slows down and finally comes to stop. And this slowing down of the moving bicycle is only due to the unbalanced force, and that unbalanced force is force of friction. But if we increases the speed of the bicycle, then in that case we apply more force than the force of friction. This is also the case of unbalanced force. So, in this way the unbalanced force can be understood. Here, when unbalanced force act on a body, they produce a change in its state of rest or of uniform motion. Means, when an unbalanced force is acting on the body, then it can change its state of rest or it can change its state of uniform motion. It can also change the direction of motion. So students, these are the terms related to the unbalanced force, and I hope this is enough for today. So thank you so much.